Hello Internet, my name is Ryan Ingram and today we're going to talk about house hacking. Now, as I've shared before in previous videos, the first home that I purchased, I did so when I was 23 and I kind of accidentally did this. So house hacking, if you're not familiar, is this concept of which you essentially get rid of your monthly living expenses by somehow renting out portions of your house or buying a multifamily property and only occupying one unit while you're renting out the others. So in my case, when I was 23, I had a roommate who paid half of the mortgage, which greatly reduced the costs. And at the end, when we sold that property, I was able to keep the equity, which is what ultimately allowed me to build my portfolio. However, I have a really awesome example for you guys today. A good friend of mine, he got out of the Army, he moved up here to Dayton, and he's got a really cool story. So I've got his permission to share a bit of his story. Now, in January, he had about $300 in his pocket. He was really stressed out and overall unhappy with his position. So we took a deep dive into his finances, into his credit report, and all of the things just mentally that he had going on about money, and we devised a plan. So previously he had been renting from me. However, he just purchased a 4-unit, and we are going to go over all of these numbers in detail. But nonetheless, we built up his savings because he worked incredibly hard. He has a full-time job, and he started doing DoorDash, Uber, a whole bunch of small odds and ends jobs, some side hustles in order to accelerate his savings. So now he's got his credit fixed. He has a good amount of savings. Since he just got out of the Army and moved up here, he's able to use the VA loan, which means no money down. There are higher fees if your credit isn't right, which is why we put pause on for a little bit and really worked on his credit. But now he's good to go. He's been approved. We've got a 4-unit under contract for him. And at this point, he is about to radically change his life. So currently where he lives, it is a single family home. He rents it from me, and it's rented out at $600 per month. Now, as you're familiar, he is not retaining any of this money. All of this money goes to me, and from there, it goes into my pocket and all of the expenses that I have to cover. So that's $7,200 a year that he is just parting with, never to see again. And if you remember from the never run out of money again video, we go over just these leaky buckets that are just destroying the amount of savings and the amount of wealth building potential that you have. Now, he has a 4-unit under contract, and this is a perfect building. We're good friends with the realtor, and he is the one that actually owns this home, and he has all of the units absolutely turnkey. If you're not familiar with the VA loan, yes, it is no money down, but the loans are super strict. The homes have to qualify. They have to be pristine. There could be very little wrong on these properties. So the realtor was nice enough to get this property just immaculate, absolutely rent ready. All of the units are turnkey at the moment, and each of those will rent out for $650. They're 2-bedroom, 1-bath units. It's a very large, gorgeous brick duplex, and the $650 per unit, 3 of those will be rented out, and my friend will live in one. So the one that he lives in, it is 2-bedroom. I told him an absolute pro move would be to rent out that other bedroom. But like I said, he just moved up here, so he hasn't met anyone that he really wants to live with yet. I told him, excuses, right? Nonetheless, the rent, he's getting rid of this. He doesn't have to pay himself the $650 to rent out that 1 unit anymore. In fact, he's renting out the other 3 units for $650 per month, which comes out to be $1,950 of income per month. Now, the $1,950, that income sounds great, but let's also talk about the monthly expenses, because as I've mentioned in some of the other videos with multifamilies, there are certain fees that stay with the owner of the property and don't actually get subrogated out to the tenants. So the first of those is the utilities. It's my most painful expense that I could possibly have on any of these properties. I hate paying it. I know it is a small thing, but it really just gets under my skin. That's why I love single-family homes, where I can subrogate all of that out, and the tenant is solely responsible for all of the utilities associated with that property. Nonetheless, for this property, the monthly utility bill is $110 a month. The annual taxes on this property is about $220 per month. It is just a little bit over $2,600 per year. The insurance on this property, it's a giant 4-unit building. The insurance is a little bit more expensive. It is about $120 per month. Just because I own the insurance agency and I know too much about insurance, this is lower than 4 units normally are in this area, and the reason is it is owner occupied, and the insurance companies really reward pride of ownership or owner occupancy because they believe that the property will be maintained better, a closer eye will be kept on everything. And I don't necessarily know how much I agree with it all of the time, but nonetheless, in cases like this, it always feels good to get a lower premium on a building that usually costs a little bit more because it's solely tenant occupied. So since this was owner occupied, a little bit cheaper, but still more than the majority of the single family home insurance, but that makes sense because this is 4 units and not 1. And finally, the mortgage on this property, it is $129,000. That's the purchase price. It's over 30 years and it's at 3%, which is incredibly cheap money. So if you have the ability to get money over a 30-year period of time at 3%, you probably should. But nonetheless, the monthly mortgage payment comes out to be $545 per month. So all in all, after we calculate all of these expenses and add them all up, we're at $995 per month. So then, of course, if we take the income of the property and subtract the expenses, then we are left with $955 of income per month. Now, this property, as I mentioned, it was turnkey. It's got new mechanicals. The roof does have age to it. He is going to have to save up for a new roof within the next 5 or 6 years. So that has to be considered when you're looking at the income. But nonetheless, this is an absolutely life-changing play that he has done, because not only is he no longer having to pay $600 per month for rent, he's now making $955 per month when the other 3 units are rented out. So he now, in addition to just this cash flow, he's also freed up even more of his income. As you're familiar, generally the living expenses is the largest chunk of everyone's monthly budget. It ranges between 25 and 50%, sometimes even more than that, of course. So how powerful would it be if you could free up 25 to 50% of your monthly income? Not to mention the $955 per month. If you extrapolate that over a full year, then now you're talking about $11,460. And since he now has freed up at least $600 from his monthly expenses, then now he's also recapturing $600 worth that he used to spend on rent, which is an extra $7,200. And now that $7,200 per year gives him the ability to invest in more real estate, or really just increase his lifestyle if that's what he wanted to do. But as you know, we're about the same age. We've got 30, 40 years of investing ahead of us. This is an absolute power play to add almost 20 grand per year to your income. Especially here in this area where you can buy properties at $50,000 and $60,000 almost all day long. This is a full down payment on one rental alone per year, just by this one move of house hacking. So I really just wanted to record this video to really magnify and kind of showcase what him and I have been working on over this past year. And it's so awesome for it to finally come to fruition. And again, this is an absolute life-changing thing, because what we also never even talked about, and we're not really concerned of, is the principal pay down and the appreciation associated with this property. So there's so much more ways that he is now adding money to his net worth by this one move. Absolute power play. I highly recommend it. I think this should be everybody's first purchase, especially if you are a young professional, a young couple, before there are any sort of kids involved. You're not too concerned about where you live. You have the ability to make sacrifices and it not feel like you're punishing yourself. I think this is a phenomenal way to really put your life trajectory on the right foot, because it's just adding so much income so much appreciation, principal pay down. There's tax benefits to it as well. It's just a really glorious thing. So what do you think? Are you motivated to go out and find a house hack for yourself yet? I hope so. I hope that's the conclusion that you've come to after just how much impact this is going to have, especially when you magnify it or extrapolate it over the next 30 years. So please, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, just throw them down below. I'm going to strive to answer all of the comments. Cannot wait to talk to you soon. Thanks so much. And I almost forgot, I'm really proud of you, buddy. I loved seeing all your hard work, and I still love to see so. You've made so much progress just financially, from a mindset perspective, and you have just been on fire this year. I'm super pumped. I'm super thrilled to call you friend, and I absolutely cannot wait to see you just continually improve. And it's going to be so much fun 20, 30, 40 years from now, just looking back on how little we knew and how much we were still able to accomplish. I love you, buddy. So proud of you.